Thank you, Crafty, here again with my number 3 process video for June. That was a challenge that I'm doing for Paper Issues on their Facebook page. It's called Boys Will Be Boys, and lucky for me, that's all I usually scrapbook is my son. I am starting to get some layouts done of my nieces now that I have a couple nieces, which is super exciting. But yes, Boys Will Be Boys, that's kind of totally up my alley, so it was not hard to find a layout to scrapbook for it. So very easy challenge. And then, so I got to kind of do what I wanted with it. I have this really old partial kit from the scrap room, and if you haven't watched the other videos or you didn't watch my June kind of kit sharing what I'm doing this month, I am taking all these partial kits I have left from the scrap room. I used to get their kits all the time, and I just budget whatever stopped, and now I have all these kits. And actually at this end of this month I might tally up like how many full kits I still have. That's a good idea, actually. But I am using this partial kit up. A lot of my kits don't have 12 by 12 papers, and this one is a good example. Doing another rough grid using 4 strips of paper, kind of in a, yeah, it's kind of a rough grid. Apparently that's my theme this month, as well as teal, because I'm going to be using some more teal paper. But this is an old 2011 Cosmo Cricut line called Social Hour. Very kind of 50s martini bar vintage vibe, but I love the colors. They're very like primary with kind of a twist. And I think perfect for a layout about my son. It kind of has nothing to do with the photos though. He is in the picture, and through the window you can see my husband actually chopping down trees. So my son is mimicking him, being a lumberjack. So that's actually end up being what my title is Mimic Lumberjack. But yeah, so he is watching his dad and then playing with his chainsaw in the house. So right now I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for background papers, and I found this old, this is a We Are Memory Keepers, it's called the Hall Pass. And so like one side is a dark teal with like a crafty kind of print on it, and the other side is kind of a tinted crafty with a dark teal print. So I liked either side. I was trying to decide which side I wanted to use. And then I also wanted to pop a red to bring that red out again, because I really liked the red, and I found this nice cardstock, and I love the look of the tiny border around the background. It's kind of one of my favorites. So I decided on doing this red behind my pattern papers, and then I'm going to do the dark teal kind of ledger paper around the border, and then use some of that as well to bring into the center of my photo cluster layering part. Sorry, coffee sip. So just doing that. So, and I really liked that decision. It was hard to figure out, like, what do I want to do? Do I want to do more muted? A lot of my layouts have been very colorful lately, which is fine. I use a lot of color. I like to use a lot of pattern paper. Some people probably think my stuff looks a little busy, but I also am trying to use up my stash. So I'm not going to use it up if I don't use it. So I like to use a lot of different pattern papers, and I love to see the mixtures of papers. A quilting, ooh, that actually would be a really good idea. I might do some quilting background too, maybe sometime this month. That would be fun. But I like to sew and quilt too. Anyway, so inking up all the edges, I did my rounded corners on there, on the strips that are gonna go vertical behind the photo, and inking up all the edges. I got these little ink little sets from just in the like the cheapy dollar-y crafty section at Joann's. I know they're Ms. Sparkle and Co. usually. I don't think the inks are though. I can't remember what these are. I don't have one in front of me to... They just say dye ink. I'm not really sure. But I'm trying to try all of them out. I used some on my last layout, which kind of worked. It was a very minimal effect, but I'm inking. I decided to ink the edges to bring some black in, because the photos are really dark, and yeah, the photos are really dark, and that also then lends me to, I have a lot of black alphas, so if I bring some black in, then it won't look silly if I just have a black title just out of nowhere. So inked all the edges. Now I am putting down my strips as straight as I possibly can, but knowing me, they're still gonna be cockeyed and a little skewed to the left, but whatever. If it's not crooked, I didn't make it. So getting those down. And I can cheat a little bit with that yellow. It wasn't quite long enough, but hey, a photo's gonna go there anyway. It doesn't matter. So yeah, apparently teal. I just realized, like, on the 3 process videos I've done so far, I have used the color teal. And also, I've used some sort of grid. And to me, this is like a rough grid because it is things lined up. There's not a grid in the fact that it's columns, so it's just missing the horizontal piece of a grid, but it's essentially a grid. It's the roughest type of grid. And like I said, there's a good basis for those. But I promise I did not do grid layouts for every single layout I did. I've done about 10, doing this voiceover, it is Monday the 10th. I've done about 10 layouts so far, so I promise these 3, maybe a 4th one was a grid. I'm trying to remember. But not all of them have been grids, I promise. So I matted my photos with the back side of that teal paper, the more crafty side, and I liked the thinner border. Then I realized I did a thinner border on the vertical photo, and then I realized how much I liked just that tiny bit of break between the photos and the pattern papers, so I trimmed up the more square photo. And with this kit came a bunch of chipboard. I had some left. There's 3 buttons and a man that I won't use. I'm not sure what I will use those on. They'd probably be good for a card. But I used up all the rest of the chipboard. Just wanted to put something up there. I do have a bunch of sketches on my Pinterest board that have, in general, like this kind of idea of doing the columns of paper, and I've done this a few different times. It's another one of my go-tos, kind of when I want to use up some paper and get a lot of different patterns on, or if I want to do monochromatic, it's a really good way to do it too. But yeah, so added a couple circles, trying to figure out where I want to put my chipboard, going to find my alphas, and I ended up doing it Mimic Lumberjack. And I apologize. After I was done filming this, I realized my video just like stopped recording. So you don't even get to see me do the little bit of black splatters I do on there. And you don't get to see me do the whole word lumberjack. And right now I'm fussing with it because I don't, did I glue that down? I may have. I don't know like where I put my flower at the end of my picture there. I was able to get it off. There. Sorry, I was fixing that. So yeah, here's the stills or the close-ups and the photos of it all finished. Thanks for watching, and I hope you tune in for more.